muscles good again. Remind myself that I know what I'm doing, because sometimes I sit down in front of a canvas and I'm like, do I know how to do this still? But after like a little bit of practice and crying and hating it, sometimes it starts to look good. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this work that I'm making right now yet, but maybe it'll be something. We shall see. We shall see. Right now, I'm just really enjoying getting to make art that's not like for an expectation or sale or anything like that. It's like sometimes being like an artist, everything that used to be your favorite hobby turns into something that gets monetized in some way. Like you write music because you love it and you're singing in your bedroom, and then you're trying to figure out how to sell albums, and then, you write poetry because you love it and it's like a release, and then you're putting out a book. And it always seems like a good idea at the time, where I'm like, oh, I want to give everyone like a book full of my work. But then also it's like there's the expectation of like, okay, cool, when are we getting the next one? The first of anything is such an amazing experience because you have your whole life to make it. I had my whole life to make Badlands, my first album. And then I had like a year to make the second one. Like, I'd had 19 years of experience to make the first, and then a year to make the second. And then, I spent most of my adolescent life and my early adult life writing I Would Leave Me If I Could. And then, it's like, is there going to be another book? And it's like, oh, shoot, I have to figure out how to write a whole nother book now. When the first one I was collecting writing over the course of years, and now I'm painting, and I'm like, do I want to do an art show? Do I want to release this? And I'm on the fence. I'm not sure. I would love to do it in some way, but then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, but is everyone going to just consume it and then forget about it? And then there's going to be an expectation to do another one really fast. And then it becomes like, how fast can you produce art, as opposed to like, how meaningful is the art that you're producing, I guess. But I've been painting nonetheless. I mean, it's one of the last things that I have left, because I'm businesswoman now, I guess. It's really funny when you become an entrepreneur, like, and I hate that word. It's such like a ugly word, but like, you feel like, in a way, you're transforming into something other than an artist, but really at your core, you're still the same artist that you were before. You're just getting smarter and getting better at figuring out ways to share your art with as many people as possible. But the art making, that never changes. That's always a part of you. Actually, there's someone on Halsey Stan Twitter that I love. Her name is Cynthia. And she's always posting like theories about the records. And honestly, she's dead on most of the time. Like 99% of the time, she's dead on. It's actually kind of crazy. It's freaky. Like the way that some of you guys feel about me, like reading your diaries and stuff. Like that's how I feel about Cynthia. I'm like, why are you inside my head? This is so weird. Anyway, she posted a tweet a couple months ago that really stuck with me, and I think probably will stick with me for the duration of my life. She said, something, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like, when Halsey tries out a new genre or tries out like a new medium or something, it always sounds like it never sounds like she's trying something on. It always sounds like they're letting something out. And I loved that, because that's what art should be and should feel like, is that you're letting it out. You're not trying it on. So profound. I like think about it before I go to bed sometimes. Sometimes when I'm like making something, I'm like, am I trying this on or am I letting it out? That's like my new gold standard for making stuff now, is this tweet that I got from Cynthia once. So shout out Cynthia one time for saying that. I've been reading a lot too. I just read this like really short book. I think it was like 165 pages. It's called I Fear My Pain Interests You. It's by Stephanie LaCava. It was really good. Ended super abruptly, but I think those vignette stories kind of do. They're like almost character studies, like little moments in time. So if you're someone who likes to read and like have like a big like revelation at the end where like everything sorts itself out and the author gives you all the answers, it's probably not for you. But if you're, one of those like my year of rest and relaxation type readers, which I am, you might really love it. It's really cool. It's really interesting. I just finished it. I read it a couple of days ago. It was great. What else? I've been writing too. I've been writing. Oh my gosh, I'm about to tell a crazy story. This is a ridiculous story. So the other night, I was in my studio because I have like a studio where I like make music and I paint and I write, and it's just like this big open loft. It's gorgeous. It reminds me of New York, and I think that's why I love it so much. Um, I opened this book, this Bukowski, and Bukowski is such like an interesting one for me, an interesting writer because he's like incredibly misogynistic, incredibly so, very vulgar. But his work as like an analysis and a representation of the time is really interesting. And his writing style is really similar to mine in the sense that it's very stream of consciousness, and he's very often mixing like flowery, poetic, articulate lines with like the most vulgar thing you've ever heard in your life, which is kind of how I write. You know, or like 1 second I'm saying like a bunch of crazy, I don't know, like super mega thesaurus words, and then the next I'm like, and fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's kind of my style. Those abrupt stops. Anyway, I was annotating this book. I opened it up super late to start annotating it. And I'm going through and I'm like carving out all these passages. I'm underlining words and I'm writing things next to it, and some of it's really nice. And some of it's like, fuck you, Charles Bukowski, for like saying whatever he's saying. And I get to the end of the book and I turn to the last page and I realize that the Charles Bukowski book that I just annotated was a hand-signed copy. A fucking hand-signed copy. One of 100 in existence. I think it was a gift. I just wish you guys could have seen the look on my face. It was a gift. I think it was a gift from my agent, Matt Meyer. Yeah. I actually have quite a few of these like rare poetry books. So I couldn't remember for a second where I had gotten this one from. Dude, the look on my face when I saw this signature, I was holding the shit up to the light. I'm checking the back of the page to see if like the pen marks had gone through. And I'm like, damn, this motherfucker is really, really signed. It's actually signed. And I just blew it. Just absolutely blew it. Couldn't believe myself. So now it's worthless because I ruined it, which is great because now I can keep doing it and not have to worry. I have another really cool book actually. I don't think I've ever talked about, but I'm going to mention it right now. It's a copy of The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde that was gifted to me by Bono. And Bono got it from Allen Ginsberg's personal library. And now it's at my house in my library. And it's got an inscription from Allen Ginsberg and then an inscription from Bono to me. And these are the moments where I'm just like, what the hell is going on? I am from New Jersey. None of this should be happening to me. I shouldn't own this. I shouldn't be allowed to touch it. It shouldn't be in my house. I don't know how this came into my possession. What the hell is going on? That's like frequently a moment I have when I like walk past that book on the shelf and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I completely have hacked the simulation and am just cheat coding my way through life right now because I am not supposed to be here and I'm not supposed to have that because I am from New Jersey. And on the subject of being from New Jersey, another movie that I really like is a movie called Garden State. I feel like everybody from Jersey loves this film. It's I'm pretty sure it's Zach Braff's writing and directorial debut, or just writing. It's amazing. It's such a poignant film. Natalie Portman's in it, and she's just absolutely wonderful. There's so much Jersey happening right now. Ginsberg, Garden State, me. Anyway, the movie is like, I think, probably the reason for a lot of people's like indie rock renaissance. Oh, the chat's at 929 likes right now. That's awesome. For me, it's how I discovered like the Shins, Iron and Wine, and a lot of other artists on the soundtrack that I really love. But there's one song, and it's in the airport scene. And this song, if you don't know this, most of you probably already know this song, but if you don't, you have to add it to your playlist because it's absolutely like disassociation, transcending, I'm in another place. Like when you want to like step out of your body and like your feelings are like too many feelings, this is the song. It is amazing. They do an incredible trick in this film where they have Zach Braff stand still for a really long period of time and they have everybody move around him. And then they speed it up in post so that he's moving in normal time and everyone else is like zipping around him all fast. They do it multiple times in the film. Those scenes for me, I always use as a description for what it feels like when I'm manic. So like everything around me is happening so fast and I'm in normal time. And I'm so grateful for that movie for giving me like a visual representation of like what my internal happening is when that's happening. But here's a song. You guys are gonna love it. This song is called Let Go by Frou Frou.